Hello, and welcome to Tucson, Edizonia. I am Randy. Thanks for hanging out. So, the last couple of days, I've had one conversation come up a couple of times with a couple of people. So, it's kind of serendipitous that other people have brought this conversation up to me because it's kind of important to me. And if you're at all into mental health or well being, especially mentally, this is for you. I think these are my thoughts, but I've also got some resources I've got pulled up too that we can get into. So I have a 19-year-old son, Daniel. If you've watched these videos, you've probably seen him from time to time. He doesn't hang out all that often. He's kind of an introvert. And getting him on here is kind of Herculean. So he works nights. He still lives with me. He works nights. So our overlap of hangout time is kind of rare. It's weekends mostly. By the time I get home from work, especially these days, it's long past his bedtime, and then he gets up long after I go to bed. So Sunday mornings we tend to get our hangout in, and get to have conversation and catch up and stuff like that. We talk a little bit on Saturday, but mostly I let him just, when he gets home from work on Saturday, we talk a little bit, and then I let him do his games and all that other fun stuff. And I'm a gamer, so I can't knock it. But he doesn't really do much outside of work. But Sunday mornings, I go to church. I'm not trying to be a Bible thumper and push that on anyone else, but if you also go to church, awesome. So my wife loves to go super early, and I'm not a morning person, which sucks because I have to be up early every day. But I ride with my son to church, and we go later in the morning. And that gives us time in the morning to hang out as we're both eating breakfast and stuff to kind of chit chat. And normally he approaches me with a conversation. And I love that. I love that I've been able to build something with him that it's a free flow of ideas. And I would love to have that with my youngest son, Richter, who you've seen on here if you've watched videos. But he's still in that teenage angst stage where sometimes he wants to talk to me and values my opinions, and other times I'm an idiot. So, and I'm cool with that. I get it. I was there. So I'm not upset with him about it. But with Daniel, we're similar in a lot of ways in I'd say our stoicism. And he feels very comfortable, and I thank God for this every day, in coming to me to discuss things with me. He's opened up with me about a lot of things I wasn't anticipating him to open up about. So he feels comfortable coming to me when he's got questions, comments, concerns, big life decisions, things like that. He feels very comfortable talking to me, and I love that. I value that. So Sunday he hits me with Daniel is a very independent person and has been from day one. From day one, he's been the kid that likes to be by himself off in the corner playing with his toys, being left alone, doesn't need anyone to interact with him. And it's something I've admired about my son forever. He has never needed someone else to give him any kind of fulfillment. Don't get me wrong, he likes to play with other people and get in the mix and things like any other boy, but he was perfectly content being left alone. He didn't have to have attention. He didn't have to be in the mix. There were times he was like, Dad, come play. But otherwise, he was cool, man. Give him his G.I. Joes or his Lego or whatever, video games. Any age, he's always been content on his own. And he was like that with his friend group all through school. He dressed the way he wanted to dress. He didn't care. And he wasn't trying to make a statement. It wasn't like he wore this pink Betty Boop hat through most of high school. And as a boy in high school, that's kind of a no-no. And anyone who's being honest with themselves know that. The first day he wore it to school, I asked him, you sure you want to wear that, bud? And he was like, yeah, I love this hat. I was like, are you sure? You're going to catch heat. And then I explained to him what he could expect. And he was like, I don't care. I don't care what other people have to say about me. I was like, fair enough. I'm not trying to talk you out of it. I just want you to be aware, because my kids were bullied when they were young, as was I. And I wanted to spare him that pain. wore that hat a lot. Like, it wasn't his only hat. He's got a lot of hats, but he wore it and didn't care. And it wasn't a statement. It wasn't, any political motivation or personal motivation. He just liked the hat and didn't care what anyone else had to say about it. And that's who he has been his entire life. And I have strived to become that way in my own life. But so he hits me with this question Sunday, because we've discussed that. I've let him know that he's not in we'll say the norm, right? The vast majority of people need a social construct. They need socializing. And he never has, ever. I can't stress that enough. From day one, he has always been just cool as a cucumber, all on his own. And we discussed that. And then people he works with, I mean, he's had this job for 2 years. They've picked up on that. And he talks. It's not like he's a weirdo. He's cool being alone. And so he talks with his coworkers, and then he talks to me about it. And they've all noticed that. They've all cued into the fact that he doesn't need to constantly be talking to someone and getting affirmations or attaboys or anything. He shows up, he does his job, he does it well, and then he moves on. And he works in a big factory. So, and I'm friends with his boss. I know he's really good at his job. It's not my kid saying that, it's high ups. So he asked me, he goes, Dad, does it make you a stronger man to be happy alone? And that led into this really fun conversation where, and not just men, but he had seen something. We didn't really get into where he saw it. He just kind of briefly, oh yeah, I saw this thing that someone being able to be happy on their own makes them, a stronger person. So I was just curious, is that something that is true? I said, absolutely. It is absolutely true that, I'll do this with a caveat. It is true in the proper circumstances that a person, I'm a man, I can't speak for anyone else, but as a man, it is a thing I value in myself, like being capable of being alone and being happy and not needing, like I said, I don't need that pat on the back. I don't need kudos from anybody. I don't need affirmation from anybody. I don't, I think it's a thing that is kind of dying off due to social media. And the irony is not lost on me that I'm discussing this on social media. But I think it's a valuable thing to be able to be alone with yourself. And so we got into this beautiful conversation for about 2 hours about the value that is there for somebody if they go on the journey of self-discovery and be able to do that in an environment without TVs and phones and friends and media and video games. Just to be able to just sit and be with yourself. I think that it's an amazing thing. So yes, and that I'm kind of skipping over a lot in that conversation, but to be able to be happy on your own, there's this old saying, you've probably heard it. You're never going to be happy with someone if you can't be happy with yourself. And there's probably 1,000 other ways people have said it, but you're never going to be, the chances of you, I know I'm speaking in absolutes and I don't mean to, but it's how I speak. I'm sorry. But generally speaking, it is more difficult for you to have a meaningful relationship with somebody else, whether that be friendship, companionship, like a romantic relationship, a marriage, or any other kind of relationship. If you're not happy with yourself, people tend to point out things that they don't like about themselves in other people. It's a really fascinating thing. And my road to self-discovery started after a nasty divorce. I say nasty. It was nasty in the moment. It wound up being like a very peaceful ordeal and has been ever since. But in the moment, a breakup, a divorce, whatever, is always painful, no matter how it happens, no matter when it happens. And it can be painful for different reasons. But going through that divorce, I used to be, before then, I used to be very short tempered, very aggressive, very, like, very macho, like to the tens, you know what I mean? Like, I went all in on being a ridiculous person. Try not to cuss too much. So I took it too far. And being alone, because I mean, we got together in high school. So I didn't really, and I went from being an idiot, making all the wrong decisions, chasing all the wrong things, chasing clout, chasing money, getting into, criminal activities, trying to be the cool bad boy, all that fun jazz. Like, I made all these decisions that weren't healthy for me or anyone around me. And then went from that to, oh, I'm going to have a kid. I better figure out life, to like leaving high school and getting a job and trying to work and trying to figure it out, but kind of late. So then I'm left alone now, right? And I'm trying to figure out how to be the best single dad to my kids that I can be. And I realize that I've got a lot of flaws, like a lot of flaws. I was forced to sit in silence with my flaws, and how to not drag these poor babies, because I mean, my kids were babies, into this pit of despair. And I didn't want to be this terrible version of myself. So I'd already kind of shed the nonsense years earlier, but I'd never developed, like, emotionally and mentally, mostly emotionally. I'd never developed. So that started this very long, I'm still on the road, but on this very long road of self-discovery and self-correction. I had to figure out, why am I such a mean, grumpy bastard? Why does everything piss me off? Why does everything hurt my feelings? Why does everything set me off? I had to figure that out. There's no one there to tell you how you are. You know you. And most people, I think, are too afraid to look inward and figure out who they are as a person. And I had to go through that metamorphosis of, who am I? Like, at the core, who am I and why am I this way? And I think a lot of people are terrified to do that, to look inward. And I had to seep in the stew of my own making and peel the husk, peel everything back and figure out who I am and why I am. I could get into, like, who I am and why I am, but that might bore the hell out of you. But I had to sit there and I had to go through those things and I had to figure out why. And then now, throughout the years, I'm constantly looking internally and making micro adjustments to my behavior after every almost literally every interaction I have with another person, especially a stranger or someone that I don't know that well, an acquaintance or a coworker I haven't known that long or whatever, or, a client that I haven't known long. After an interaction, I'm thinking about how I'm behaving during the interaction. And then when I leave the interaction, I will dissect my behavior, my reactions, my mannerisms, things like that. I'm very much a like service industry. Like, I'm very much like, I solve people's problems. I deal with people. I make them feel better. I'm honest with them so they can trust me, so they know that when I tell them something's broke, it's broke. And when I say I'm going to be somewhere, I'm there. So my personal interactions is what keeps me in business. And with the figuring out where I've gone wrong, I dwell on that. I'm the type of person that when I say the stupid joke at the wrong time, I will fixate on that for months. And 20 years down the road, I will remember out of nowhere some moment of discomfort that I created, and I'll kick myself in the ass for it. Now, I shouldn't. It's not a healthy thing to do, and it's not a thing I do on purpose. I spend most of my career now, 14 years, alone. Most of that time I'm alone. I'm on a rooftop. I'm a commercial HVAC guy. I'm on big rooftops for long periods of time all by myself. And I've used that time to reflect and to contemplate and to decide who I am, like figure out who I am and decide who I want to be. So I've taken a lot of time and effort to get to where I am, like emotionally, spiritually, mentally. And my son was born with that. So he's got that always paying attention kind of thing going on. He's careful with what he says. Generally, he's careful with how he behaves. Like here at home, he'll cut loose. He's not, he lets his guard down for that. But in the workspace, out in public or whatever, he's measured. And I can't speak for him, so I don't think that it's a self-defense mechanism. Most of my bad behavior was self-defense mechanisms. Being bullied, and he was also bullied ruthlessly. I know I was, and I know he was because he'd come home crying. So we were both little guys. We were both, he's not freaking small anymore, and neither am I, even though I've got a weird self-image thing I got to deal with. Call it bigorexia. So he's measured with what he does, and why he is that way, I don't fully know, but he is. And I've become that way, and I focus on the things I do. And I realized quite a while ago, several years, probably about 10 years ago, when life was finally developing the way I wanted it to, that I'll call it 3 years. I think I've mapped out 3 years of my life that I completely pissed away. Just pissed it away. And that's from 16 to 19. Like those 3 years, I gave up on everything worth having. I just gave up on. I had a very unhappy house. Like I had a very unhappy home life. I hated every second of it. I hated everyone I was around. Like I was just angry and miserable. And most of that was from other people's decisions and the way my house was. Just my house sucked. But that comes off of being abandoned by my mother when I was 6. Unhappy stepmom. She's a terrible person. Surrounded by step brothers and sisters that made me miserable most of the time. Not now. Like now we're adults, and the last time I talked to them, we're great. But at the time, it all sucked. I was miserable. I hated everything. Girlfriends come and go at that age, and that always has an effect on your psyche and your self-esteem. I had zero self-esteem. It took me years. I was a grown-ass man before I had any self-esteem. So I overcompensated with anger and lashing out and being, the big peacock, and just being lots of bravado. I made up for my lack of self-belief, self-confidence, self-worth. I made up for all of that with just being the bigger asshole. Like no one was going to bully me anymore. I wasn't a bully, but I didn't back down from anybody. So I overcompensated, overcorrected, and that became who I was for too long. So in those 3 years of me not doing schoolwork, not caring about anything but being accepted by my peers and being the cool kid and getting in the mix with all of the stuff that I thought was awesome. And at that age, you think alcohol, drugs, guns, all that NWA lifestyle is fun and appealing. And I went after it all in. And then it took me over 10 years to catch up with the rest of my life. So I screwed around for 3 years. And those 3 years of piss poor decision making took about 10 years to correct and get my life back on track. And hit this. I was actually talking the second part of this conversation that came up with somebody else, and I didn't start the conversation with either person, and that's what kind of got me on it. My life now, I'm about to be 39, and my life now has hit that X factor of my life is where it should be instead of me catching up. So that 3 years of screwing around and taking nothing serious and not thinking for my future, not planning for my future, took me 10 years off track. 10 years of hard labor, learning, everything I could get my hands on and working my ass off in my career to become what I am today. And I'm successful now, but it was a long road. Now, I was blessed and I had a few people on my side that gave me opportunities. Now, I did the hard work to make myself successful, but without people like my dad, like I wouldn't have been able to have the opportunity to become so successful. I'd probably still be a ditch digger or, a low paid electrician, which I was. So people don't seem to realize that their decisions do have that rippling effect over time. And if you're not mindful and you're not thinking about the best for yourself, this is all incorporated. If you're not happy by yourself, you're going to make terrible decisions. I was not happy alone. I wasn't happy with myself. I wasn't happy with people around me. So I went looking for that happiness, and I've known and am related to a lot of recovering addicts. And fortunately, I was blessed that never got me. I've never been addicted to anything other than like caffeine and nicotine, but like all my friends and family members that have been addicted to things, it does the same, like it's the same effect. Like having bad decision making is bad decision making, and it's going to take the same amount of time. So my conversation I had today, we actually started talking about like conversing with kids, because my buddy's got little kids, and he was talking about this fun conversation he had with his son the other day, and that kind of, it led right into this. I was like, holy crap, man, like this is exactly what I was just talking to my son about. My son's just older. But he said something that he had reiterated, like he liked what I had to say. And he goes, man, I actually follow a lot of people that talk about this type of thing. He goes, and you just said something the same as, like you said the same thing this other guy said, but he said it a little differently. I was like, he goes, you want to hear what he said? I'm like, absolutely. I'd love to. Cause I don't really look into this stuff very much. I just kind of became an introspective human. He said that this guy he was watching said that bad decisions are like the Olympics. You go to the Olympics, right? You make it there. You don't win, right? You fail. You don't get a medal, but you were there. You made it to the Olympics. But the Olympics only come every 4 years. So you failed. You have 4 years to train before you can succeed again. And that's what bad decisions will do. Like not thinking clearly can lead you to a point that it sets you back 4 years. Now I had estimated that I set myself back about 10 in total, but I mean, that's still a valid point. If you hit a point in your life where you've made so many decisions based on your own internal thoughts that aren't healthy in whatever manner that may be, you hit a point where it's going to take you 4 years. 1 year of bad moves can set you back 4 years. And now you're on the struggle bus for 4 years trying to get back. So where you should have been 4 years ago, you're just now getting there. And that's absolutely true in my case. And I'm sure I'm not the only one. I'm not claiming to be unique in any manner or special. But everything takes a toll. And I think that this all comes back to being mindful and looking inward before you start making decisions, or when life really starts to kick you in the ass, before you start kind of going off the rails. I think inward thinking for, let's just say, an hour a day, being alone with your thoughts, being alone with yourself for an hour a day, I think can make insane changes in your life. I think it can have such a solid impact on everything about life. that it's, it's unbelievable. I think you'll overcome hurdles. Now, I myself am a Christian man, so I get in the Bible, I get into sermons, I get into when I really need that pick me up, that's what I do. But I've got friends that aren't into any faith or religion, but they do other mindfulness techniques, and they go and they meditate for an hour a day. Every morning, wake up and meditate, or get home from work and meditate for an hour or whatever. I've got other friends that just go to the gym, and in the gym, they're kind of thinking, replaying their day or whatever, whatever it takes. But I think mindfulness in general can have the overwhelming effect on everything. But I think that being happy, finding a way to be happy alone and happy in and of yourself, and I don't mean like I'm my own God, but like just being able to accept yourself and not kick yourself in the ass every 10 minutes because you feel like a failure or because you feel like you did fail. Hey man, we're all new to this. Like, it is life, and it's going to kick the hell out of everybody. And no one has all the answers. You might have someone you look up to that does have some answers, but we're all just trying to figure this out. And for me, being alone and really ripping the layers out of what was making me like stand in my own way and like put hurdles in front of myself. Like, I was actively throwing hand grenades in my own path and having to walk around the crater and divert. Like, I was making excuses to grenade my life, and it's not a healthy way to be. It just isn't. Now, I'm not unique. I know other people do it, but it can throw everything out of balance. And that's why I started like kind of setting with this. I'm like, man, like I'm kind of rambling, so I'm not really hitting on everything because I didn't do any notes. It's been a long couple of weeks for me with work and everything, but that's why I brought up some articles. Come on, if I get my mouse to work with me, here we go. So, like, how to be happy alone. 13 tips for embracing solitude. And I find that I think the more people do this, the happier truly they would be. And that's being alone versus being lonely. Big difference between being alone and feeling lonely. Being alone or spending time with yourself is simply not being in the company of others, which may or may not be by choice. Loneliness, on the other hand, is an emotional feeling of being disconnected, unsupported, and isolated. And I think that that's what a lot of people suffer with, is that need to be connected. And they feel alone, like an island, if they're not in direct communication with friends or whatever. A lot of perks of being alone, including the opportunities for reflection, relaxation, and personal development. Appreciating the value of spending time alone can help you develop a strong sense of self and lead to increased creativity, productivity, and emotional well-being. And these are the things that, like I said, my kid comes by it naturally, and I had to work at. I think that most people have to work at it, but I also find that most of the people in my circle don't practice this. They just go, yeah, I'm cool I just am what I am. And I think that's an unhealthy way to be. You're never the same. Every day is going to have an effect on you. You're going to have some interaction or some experience that is going to change fundamentally something about you. Now, it could be something as small as, I don't know, changing which vehicle you want to own from now on, or changing what brand of socks you buy, or changing, what format you like on your computer or whatever. Or it could have a huge altering effect to who you are as a person. And I think that it's healthy. I think all of this is extremely healthy. Being alone and experiencing loneliness aren't necessarily linked. Being alone refers to the physical state of not being in the presence of other people, but loneliness can occur in any situation. Even if you are with others, it can bring a sense of isolation or not being understood by those around you. When your social needs aren't being met, it can cause sadness or anxiety. Loneliness isn't about the quantity of your social interactions, but the quality and meaningfulness of those interactions. Being alone doesn't automatically lead to negative feelings. In fact, alone time can be a positive, enriching experience, providing opportunity for self-reflection, relaxation, and independence, a chance to enjoy favorite activities without distraction, time to focus on personal growth and self-discovery, a way to unwind in peace. Recognizing the difference between choosing to be alone and feeling lonely can help you build a healthy relationship with yourself. However, if you do feel lonely, acknowledging these feelings can be the first step towards seeking more meaningful connections or addressing any underlying issues. So, step 1, set personal goals. Define what you want to achieve, whether it's related to your career, personal growth, fitness, or hobbies. Setting goals can give you a sense of purpose, making your alone time more productive and fulfilling. Like, that's solid. And for me and all my buddies who work out, I mean, setting journals, recording your lifts, it's a really good way to let you know what kind of person, what kind of growth you're making physically. But I know that in some cases, a lot of people, myself included, get into the gym as a self-help technique. You got body dysmorphia, right? You don't feel good about yourself. You're always down. That directly impacts your self-esteem, your ability to look people in the eye instead of looking at their knees. All of these things I know I've experienced in my life. And I know a lot of people struggle with that, with that sense of confidence. Getting into the gym is one of those amazing things, but sometimes most people are easily discouraged, which is why January, gym memberships boom, but by April, the gyms are empty. Like, people don't stick to it. But if you're keeping a log that just for you, to track your progress. Oh man, I was only able to do 2 sets of 10 pounds on the hammer curl, a month ago. Now here I am banging out 50 pounds for 4 sets. You're able to look back on that and get a boost, an internal boost from yourself, from your own hard work. That's just for me, and that's just one example. But develop a hobby, activities you can love, enrich your life, also boost your mood and self-esteem. No matter what you're into, your hobbies can provide you with joy and sense of accomplishment. This is very true. I have way too many hobbies, and pick your hobby well. Like, test out everything, but, decide on one and maybe stick to one. I have about 7 or 8 major hobbies that all cost way too much freaking money. I got too many cars, too many video game consoles, a lot of freaking RC cars, and if you've been hanging out, there's more videos coming. It's just been super hot. I've been super busy at work. And then guns and tools, and yeah, it gets out of hand fast. So, but yeah, definitely pick a hobby. Mostly pick a hobby that has a physical component to it. Like, video games are cool and all, but that can completely undo any personal goals that you set for physicality. So if you can develop a hobby that's active, that's going to release a lot more of those awesome chemicals, all that dopamine, when you achieve a new goal. When so you get into woodworking, you spin a table leg, and once you've accomplished the first table leg, you're going to be on cloud freaking 9, and you're active doing something, and it's a community. I would also recommend develop a hobby if you still feel the need to sometimes be connected to people. Maybe a hobby that can be independent or mostly independent, but can also incorporate other people. That's what I love about RCs and firearms. I can bring all my friends over, and even though none of them some of my friends have no idea how to run RCs, they can still have fun doing it. But it's something I can also still just go out, bomb around the desert by myself, and be happy as a clam. Practice mindfulness. Use practices like meditation, yoga, or deep breathing exercises to stay present and fully engaged in the current moment. Mindfulness can help you reduce stress, enhance emotional well-being, and deepen your appreciation for alone time. I don't do deep breathing exercises, but meditation, I was talking about that earlier. Just contemplation. Where am I? Where have I been? Where am I going? That kind of thing. Create a comfortable living space. Decorate your home to reflect your taste and interest to help make alone time something to look forward to. A space that feels like a sanctuary can significantly enhance your comfort and peace of mind. I mean, I think that goes without saying because I think most people do that already. We're in one of many rooms of my property that is dedicated to things that make me happy. Basically, I walk through my house. I got a pool table in the next room. Yeah, and more collectibles. Everything about my property makes me happy. So definitely do that. It does help. Learn a new skill. Using your alone time to learn something new can be incredibly rewarding. Explore a new language, musical instrument, or digital skill to boost your confidence and open up new possibilities. Couldn't agree more. Stay physically active. Perfect. Physical activity can benefit your health and your mental well-being. Find an exercise you enjoy to help improve your mood and reduce feelings of anxiety and depression. This is my personal favorite. Now, take everything I'm saying with a grain of salt, but physical activity is going to boost everything about your self-esteem, your confidence, everything. Whether that's going for a walk, getting a a treadmill. If you work from home, getting a sit stand table with the moving, with one of those little bitty treadmills, even the ones that are not powered. I'm trying to remember what the term is. Sorry, I'm blanking it because I don't own one. The kind of treadmill that only works as you're walking. It's not motorized at all. I know a few people that have those, or even a really small one that just sits at your set stand table and you can get stuff done while being active. That's going to release a lot of that amazing chemical into your system. And it's going to affect the rest of your state of mind. You're going to feel like you've accomplished something. You're going to be burning calories. So if you're trying to lose those stubborn pounds, it's going to help, which is the way you look at yourself in the mirror is going to increase or decrease your self-esteem. And this is all about self-esteem and like helping yourself be happy. I just find that going through the pain of shedding what you don't like about yourself and becoming aware and holding a mirror up to yourself of like, oh, I hate this about me, and finding ways to slowly shed yourself of those habits or those personality traits, you can get rid of them. It takes effort, takes a lot of effort, takes a lot of work, takes a lot of honesty with yourself, but you can do that. Connect with nature. Nature's calming effect can help reduce stress. A walk in the park, gardening, or simply sitting outside can be a wonderful way to enjoy some alone time. This is true. I have a greenhouse. I built a big greenhouse. I grow all kinds of fruits and vegetables, and I love it. I was just out there a couple hours ago. I'm out there every evening in my greenhouse. I love it. It makes me feel good. Enjoy a good book. Reading can transport you to another world, provide new insights, and stimulate your imagination. Visit your local library or bookshop to discover new authors and engage in new ideas. I love this too. I don't think you can see it, but I've got these shelves full of books. In here, it's mostly entertainment books, but I do own a lot of books on real life things, history books. I have like books on the history of knives and guns and different history books of different eras, things like that. Write in a journal. Process your thoughts and feelings, gain clarity, and reflect on your experiences through journaling. It can help you understand yourself better and appreciate your personal journey. I agree with that, but I've never really kept a journal. I'll write down notes and stuff every time when I feel like it, but generally it's not a practice I've kept. Explore your creativity. Oh, excuse me. Alone time can bring the perfect opportunity to express yourself creatively. Writing, painting, or making music can enhance your happiness and self-discovery. Couldn't agree more. I sketch. Ooh, yeah, we're getting hit by a big storm. Take a break from social media. This is probably this is up there in importance, in my opinion. And there goes the pups, all losing their minds. Sorry about all that. I don't know if you heard that thunderclap, but it was pretty loud and like pretty close. The storm's getting like right over my house now. Take a break from social media. I could not agree more with this. This is huge. Too many people doom scroll and live on their likes. And again, the irony is not lost on me. I'm doing this on a YouTube channel, but believe it or not, like as much as I would love my channel to grow, I want my channel to grow mostly because it selfishly, I started this channel because I don't have a lot of free time in my life. And selfishly, I thought if I did this, because no one else I know does this, my friends would be interested in coming over and hanging out with me. Like it would give us a solid, like, hey, I need to go hang out with Randy because we're going to make a video. As an adult with a career and a family and everything, it's hard to iron down like, hey, come hang out. Let's chill like we used to. It gets difficult. Most of my friends have young kids. I started really young. So it's hard to get your friends to like hang out. And I don't want to go to a bar and hang out. Like that's boring and it's not fun. But like to be able to go to each other's houses and hang out and have a nice night, have a good meal, have a good conversation. Those are the things I want out of life. And I very much like to surround myself with people who bring like quality to my life. Like I don't need gifts and money and any of that crap. I just want people around me that make my life happier, more fulfilling, better. And I like to be surrounded by those friends from time to time. And I figured if I got a YouTube channel, the bigger it gets, the more likelihood of me being able to get more of my friends to come hang out with me. So selfishly, that's most of what this is. And it's always seemed like a fun thing to do. And I'm enjoying it. I just wish I had more time for it. But yeah, take a break from social media. Don't let the likes and dislikes and comments and all that and the hearts and all that other crap rule your happiness. Reduce your time on social media to help decrease feelings of comparison and inadequacy. Instead, use your alone time to engage in fulfilling activities that enhance your sense of self-worth. Holy crap, I cannot speak right now. Yeah, exactly. I know far too many people that get their self-worth from people liking their overdone and overdeveloped pictures. Oh, I got the beauty filter on. I got the pretty girl filter. I got this. I got that. It's like, who cares? First off, it's false advertising. You don't look like that. Calm down. And don't let like other people's little clicking the heart matter to you so much. I mean, look at my videos. I get views, kinda. I don't really get any thumbs ups. Who cares? Like, it helped me in the algorithm, but whatever. I'm surprised I haven't gotten more like hate comments. That's always intrigued me. No trolls. Volunteer your time. Helping others can provide purpose and connection. Even when you're alone, and it can be highly rewarding. Volunteer in your community to make a positive impact while focusing on the well-being of others. That's beautiful. Service. The Bible is very clear on this. And again, I'm not trying to be super preachy, but the Bible has helped a lot of people. And the 12 steps. Sobriety is the only way to keep it is to give it away. Plan solo adventures. Traveling alone or exploring new places locally can offer a sense of freedom and adventure. Plan a trip to discover new things about the world and yourself. I love that too. It's beautiful. So there's a quick, dirty rundown of ways to be able to finding ways to be able to be happy on your own if you're not generally able to do that. And then improving self-esteem. So your self-esteem is with tips, improving self-esteem, blah, blah, yada, yada. How can I improve my self-esteem? This page is some tips and suggestions for involving your self-esteem or self-confidence. Some people find these ideas useful, but remember that different things work for different people at different times. Only try what you feel comfortable with. Beautiful. I didn't read these beforehand either. I just kind of like clicked on them, saw the first couple lines, was like, well, let's try them out. I'm okay with pulling up something stupid and admitting that I made a mistake. Be kind to yourself. That's a big one. Too many people are incapable being kind to themselves. Let yourself off the hook. You're good, man. No one's got your back like you should. Like, you should have your back at all times. You should be your biggest cheerleader. No one else is going to hit the mark the way you can. You know what you're looking for out of yourself. Like, be kind to you. Give yourself that encouragement you need. Try to recognize positives. Oh, I love that. I love it. Glass half full. Like, simple as that. You make some decisions that you feel are mistakes or whatever, or you can't believe you said that thing to that person and it's driving you mad if you focus on too much outside noise like I do sometimes, and you dissect all of your interactions like I do all the times. Try to recognize the positive. Give yourself a break. And that goes hand in hand with be kind to yourself. You know, if you're going to be making a list of things you shouldn't have said, then you should also throw in something that you said that you were happy that you said. Build a support network. That's smart. I mean, lifting heavy weight is always easier when you're not doing it alone. Find someone, even if it's just one person, a confidant, and let that be the person that you are 100% honest with. Like, no bullshit, no lies, no make-em-ups. This person is who I am 100% always on honesty with. For me, that's my aunt, who I call my mother. So I call her mom. She is that person for me. I've never lied to her. Ever, 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 ever. I don't make shit up. I don't try to impress her. I don't try to hurt her feelings. I don't try to disappoint her. And she has done me the honor of never being negative with anything I've had to say. Like, I mean, because she's not my real mother, she doesn't, like, it doesn't change anything for me. I still view this woman as my mother. So she's my mama. And even back in my late teens, when I was into all the wrong things and she was a cop, I could go to her and tell her, I could call her up and tell her, you know, what kind of day I had, what I was into, the shit I was doing. And she never judged me. She listened to what I have to say. She offered encouragement or advice or whatever it was that the conversation called for. And all these years later, now that I'm not a fucking scumbag, she has never once held anything I've ever said or done against me. She has never shamed me for my past. She's just always been on point. And that's the relationship we have. It's reciprocal. I am that person for her. She tells me everything. She tells me the good, the bad, and the ugly. She's able to confront her difficulties with me as a sounding board without judgment, without any harsh reactions, without, oh my God, I can't believe you thought that. None of that. And she is that for me. I go, hey, I'm struggling with something, you know, I just need a sounding board. Hey, hit me up. And then I go, okay, you know, this is what I'm thinking. I feel like a terrible person having thought it. I feel like I'm being dishonest, or I feel like I'm being whatever, untrue. But this is what I'm thinking about. This is, whatever. And she's got my back. She's got my best interest. Like she's there to talk me through it. And that, I couldn't recommend this enough. Have at least one person in your life that there is no bullshit. When you tell them a fact, it is fact. When you tell them how you're feeling, but have it be someone that can be that for you, that can listen, absorb, respond, but they're not giving you hollow platitudes. They're not just, it's okay, Stephanie, you're allowed to feel that way. To hell with him. None of that. They go, well, listen, Stephanie, like, it sucks you feel that way, but you did do this, and I'm not judging you for it, but you have to be real with yourself. Like someone that calls you on your shit, that holds you accountable to you. And I mean, I've never been part of AA, but I'm very aware of AA, and I've got friends that are involved. So I do take note from it, and I've studied the steps. You have to have that person. So it's no different. You have to have that sponsor like person that you can go, hey man, I screwed up, or hey, I'm struggling with X, Y, and Z. I just need to talk. Build that. Try talking therapy. I tried it when I was a kid. I was not prepared for it. So I'm sure it's awesome. I have very little experience, and my experience was not positive, but I was not in a positive place. I was not looking for it. So I think if you're going there looking for it, that's probably a very healthy thing. That's kind of what me and my mom have. It's kind of a therapeutic conversation all the time. Set yourself a challenge. Ooh, I love this. Set challenges, man. Whatever it is. If you're struggling with, let's say, weight, and I know you use that as an example a lot, but I'm into fitness, even though I'm a heavy boy, but being heavy helps me lift heavy. So I'm fine with it. I need a power keg to get shit off the ground. But set yourself a challenge. Like, it kind of goes back to the language thing. You want to learn a new language? Do it. You want to learn, you grew up without knowing how to ride a bike. You want to learn how to ride a bike? Do it. You want to learn how to, drive a big truck, or you want to, learn to drift. You want to learn to do woodworking, learn to weld, learn to work on your own car. I mean, there's a litany of things. Basically, anything you don't already know how to do, pick something and learn it. I couldn't agree more too. Like, this is good stuff, man. Like, challenge yourself. And it doesn't have to be challenging yourself to learn a new thing. It could be, you're an introvert and you have a hard time talking to someone, but there's someone at work that's always been friendly. It seems like they take interest in you as a person, not necessarily romantic, just like they're always saying good morning. They always ask how your weekend was or whatever. Maybe set yourself the challenge of going, hey, Mark, how was your weekend? And then look after yourself. Make sure you're showering. Make sure you're brushing your teeth. Make sure your clothes are washed. Make sure you've got good nutrition. Make sure you've got a tub of ice cream, but you've also got some really healthy macros. You know what I mean? Like, yeah, get to know yourself. Be kind to yourself. Get to know yourself. For example, what makes you happy and what you value in life. You might find it helpful to write this in a journal. Just sit and talk with yourself. Try to challenge unkind thoughts about yourself. Man, I'm really liking this one. You might automatically put yourself down. If you find yourself doing this, it can help to ask, would I talk to a friend in this way? Me and my friends are a bit rough with each other, so yes. Say positive things to yourself. Some people like to do this in front of a mirror. It can feel strange at first, but you may feel more comfortable the more you do it. I think this is good, but I think it needs more context. Say positive things to yourself. Absolutely. Say true positive things about yourself. Don't make yourself delusional, because you could be undoing the other steps. If you're putting yourself down, why are you putting yourself down? There's clearly something there you don't like. Get to know yourself. Find out those things you don't like. When you're putting yourself down, it's because there's something there you don't like that you need to get rid of. So don't say positive things about yourself to whitewash that thing and excuse it. So definitely say positive things about yourself, but don't excuse the things about yourself that you don't like. Find healthy ways to fix those. Don't put yourself down about them, but be honest with yourself. Like, you're the only person that you can rely on to be honest with you. That's it. Like, you can build a relationship, and hopefully you have a healthy relationship that someone else can be honest with you, but they might also spare your feelings. You shouldn't spare your own feelings, in my opinion. That's how I treat myself, and it's worked. So yeah, I just think that saying positive things to yourself, just don't try to excuse the things that you don't like about yourself. Practice saying no. Being assertive can be difficult if you're not used to it, but agreeing to too many things to please others can be draining. It can help to pause, take a breath, and think about how you feel before agreeing to doing something you don't want to. I love that. I've never been this has never been a problem for me. I'm actually like the opposite. I have to practice say yes to people. My friends know not to like invite me to do stuff because I'm not going. um, but like I will help people do things. But this right here, the amount of just sweethearted people, this seems to be a thing for sweethearts. Those people that are, I don't mean this to be belittling, but the doormats, the people that always say yes to help somebody and they always get taken advantage of and taken for granted. Definitely practice this. Stop telling all these fools that use you, like stop doing everything for them. Absolutely practice no. Don't be a doormat. That's not how you would treat other people. Don't let other people treat you that way. Don't treat yourself that way. Don't settle for people treating you like this. Try to avoid comparing yourself to others. Absolutely. For example, it might help to limit how much time you spend on social media or online communities. What other people often choose to share about their lives isn't always the full picture. No, it almost never is. And it's one thing I've taken pride in, although my channel makes no sense because I don't have one topic, because that's who I am as a person. I like lots of things, so I'm going to talk about lots of things. You don't see the full picture here. I mean, I will do, if you go back in some of my other videos, I've got 3-hour-long videos that are conversing. And there's some fun stuff in there, in my opinion. But it's not the full picture of me. And this started off like in part of my shop. I had stuff in a different background. I've gone through like 5 different backgrounds now, a few different places. The studio's been built while the studio was actually being developed. But you don't get the full picture of me. And I don't get the full picture of anyone that I watch online. And I don't do a lot of social media and like kind of, on there a little bit from time to time. I'm on Instagram just to try to remember to promote my channel. But don't go, oh man, so-and-so's got a this and so-and-so's doing that. And they're going to Belize or they're going to Hawaii or whatever. Who cares? Like, don't worry about what they got going on. It's not a competition unless you make it one. And then that's really unhealthy. And that's something you should be considering in these earlier steps. But like, don't worry about what other people got going on. And don't let that be a commentary on what you got going on. But I say that because this one hits close. And I talked about this today. So in that conversation that I had with my son Sunday, if you've made it this far, thanks for still being here. So the conversation I had with Daniel, we were talking about, we kind of got into this, the healthy mindset of comparing yourself to others and being successful and screwing up. And like, it was, like I said, it was a 2-hour conversation. It was awesome. And I'm very honest with my kids generally. I mean, I don't tell them everything, but I mean, if they ask me a question, I'm going to do my best to give them the truth and like context. But, I let my kids know, like, I screwed up. Don't follow my footsteps. Like, it sucks. And in doing so, it's so like belittling to yourself. Again, this is all self. So comparing yourself to people who have made better decisions than you and have become more successful than you, when you're young and you're watching all of your friends go to a Hawaii cruise or go to Vegas or go to Six Flags in California, and you're invited to go to all those things, but you can't afford the phone bill this month. You're still trying to figure out how to come up with money for your phone bill. You can't go to Vegas. Like, you don't have the money because you screwed up, didn't make the right decisions, got a crappy paying job, and you've got a baby to take care of and a house to like and rent, and you've got all these bills because you made decisions that left you in this position. That sucks. And it is a bitter pill to swallow, knowing that you dug that hole for yourself and having to own it. You can't blame nobody else. Now, a lot of people do. Oh man, well, if so and so or such or whatever. But at the end of the day, if you're doing any of this, you have to sit with yourself and go, damn, I made every bad decision that led to my inability to go do that fun stuff. Now, I can do that fun stuff now. But sadly, my friends can't because they've all got young kids. But I didn't have the money. Like I had to live with my dad for quite a while when my youngest was a baby because I couldn't afford to live nowhere. I was making pennies. And those are my decisions that led me there. And I'm not proud of them, but I'm not going to hide from the fact of that's my reality. That's what I did. I made so many piss poor decisions. I screwed myself out of opportunity after opportunity. Like I set roadblocks for myself. And then I compared myself to where my friends were. People that had been my peers since the 3rd grade. And now they're off bombing around, hey man, we're going to Six Flags next weekend. You want to go? I'm like, I'd love to. I can't. I don't have any money. Like driving clapped out cars while my friends are going to dealerships and buying like used cars. They weren't buying like Lambos or nothing, but like, they're buying decent vehicles and I'm driving these old clapped out things that half of them my dad had to help me buy. Like I made so many wrong turns and then was almost forced to see where my friends were in life and like I'm never going to catch up. I'm a loser. And that just set me back farther and farther and farther. And so it's a dangerous decision to make to go comparing yourself to other people, man. Everyone's different. Everyone makes different decisions. Everyone has different abilities. Everyone's got like different potential that they've tapped into. You're all at different levels. Some people tap into their, really high level of their potential really young. Other people find, their massive start later. But it's all about effort, man. You're going to get out of this what you put into it. And yeah, like comparing yourself, I did that. And it is a nasty thing to get into. It's a bad habit. Don't get into it. Do something nice for yourself. For example, making your favorite meal or playing a game you enjoy. That's beautiful. I think that should be in moderation. I think that should definitely be something you do on those downward days. But when you're up, keep yourself moving with some of these, challenging yourself and learning new skills. I think for my money, I mean, what do I know? I don't have a doctorate, but I have done all the work and I'm actively doing the work. I've come to realize that people get to choose what they present about themselves online. In reality, no one's life is perfect and everyone has insecurities. Hell yes. I'm constantly insecure. And what you see here is real, but it's not the complete picture of my reality. I work ridiculous long hours often. I work hard because I like to play hard. And I know that's a cliche saying, but everything I like costs money. And I work hard to make as much money as I can to purchase the things I want. Like money is just a tool to me. It's not the goal. It's just an important tool in my toolbox. But yeah, I mean, everything on here is real. This is me. Yeah, it's good stuff so far. Celebrate your success. No matter how small they may seem, take time to praise yourself. For example, this could be going outside for a walk or doing some tidying. Yeah, man, celebrate the wins. Like, look for the wins. Accept compliments. Ooh. I still can't accept compliments. I turn them all into jokes because it's so uncomfortable. You could save them up to look over when you're feeling low or doubting yourself. I mean, yeah, that's cool. Like mental Rolodex, take the compliment and think on it later. Absolutely. But I think this also like could apply to in the moment accepting it. Just like, oh, thanks, like whatever. Like, I turn every compliment into a freaking joke. I'm such a child. It's so, I don't know, weird still. Like, I mean, if my boss says, "Hey man, thanks a lot, great job," I'm like, "Yeah man, no worries, cool, you got it." Like that kind of thing, I'm cool with, and it's normal, and I just kind of roll with it. But like a proper compliment, like about me, throws me off, man. It's so unnerving. Like, yeah, weird. Um, Ask people what they like about you. Ooh, that's interesting. If you feel comfortable, they may recognize things that you don't think about yourself. That's kind of creative. I've never thought to do that. That could be cool. Could be weird. That's a bold move, Cotton. Like, it could work out really well for you. But if you just ask random people, like I think these are people and deal with a lot. Otherwise, this could be weird. I like it. It's just, that's new for me. Write a list of things you like about yourself. That I do like. For example, this could be a skill that you have learned or something you do to help other people. I think that's a very positive thing to do. And to take it a step further, I think that in a positive mental state, when you're at like a nice high, write down, and I mean emotional high, get a cookie jar and write down different things you like about yourself, fold them up and put them in the cookie jar. That way, when you're having a down day or doubting yourself or feeling low, you can go take one out and read it and kind of reassert yourself, like kind of bring yourself back to baseline. I think that'd be a really cool thing to do. I use a gratitude diary, which directly challenges things before I get to a point of feeling overwhelmed and catastrophizing everything. Oh, excuse me. Build a support network, talk to someone you trust. Like I was saying earlier, focus on positive relationships. Oh, it might feel difficult to control who you spend time with, but where possible, it can help you spend more time with people who make you feel good about yourself. That's good. Okay. Yeah, I skipped over it. I probably shouldn't have. Sorry. Talk to someone you trust. Having someone listen to you and show they care can help. If you aren't able to open up to someone close to you, you could call a helpline to speak to someone anonymously. For example, you could call Samaritans on 116123. Try peer support. Making connections with people who have similar or shared experiences can help. For example, online communities like Minds Side by Side can be a good source of support. See our pages on peer support to find out more. That's cool. For the first time, I thought there is no way that all these negative things can be true with so many people in my life who love me for who I am. Try talking therapy. Yep, talk therapies can help building self-esteem. They can also help you find ways to cope with experiences that affect you and how you feel about yourself. Set yourself as a challenge. Oh, this is like going into all those details earlier that I was talking about earlier. Look after yourself. Sleep. That's a big one. Diet. Physical activity. Spend time outside. Meditation. Avoid recreational drugs and alcohol. And that's user discretion. Sign up to self-help program. Try volunteering, set small goals, learn something new. If I'd have known this was going into there, I probably wouldn't have gone into it so much earlier. So I also opened up this because where was it? Come on. So here we go. Again, not trying to be a Bible thumper, but he would withdraw to desolate places and pray. Nor did I go to Jerusalem as possible before. Let's see. But the Lord, come on. I said to them, come away by yourselves to a desolate place and rest a while. Be still and know that I am God. I will be exalted among the nations. I will be exalted on the earth. Be silent before the Lord God, for the day of the Lord is near. The Lord is... Where was the one? Let's see, right here, James 1:19. Know this, my beloved brothers, let every person be quick to hear, slow to speak, slow to anger. But there was one. Here we go. Mark 1:35. And rising very early in the morning, while it was still dark, he departed and went out to a desolate place, and there he prayed. And after he had dismissed the crowds, went out to the mountain by himself to pray. Like, being alone and in contemplation is a very healthy thing. Like, whether that's praying, whether that's just doing mindfulness practices, it's meditation. Being alone and thinking inward is a very healthy thing. Oh, excuse me. For myself and for a lot of people I know, sleep. Get your 8 hours in. I know that's a big one. Like, without sleep, I have watched people go into sleep deprivation, and I have been one of those people working jobs where you're only getting a few hours of sleep a night, and that destroys everything about your mental capacity and your happiness. Think about your diet. Eating regularly and keeping your blood sugar stable can make a difference to your mood and energy levels. Food and mood. Diet's big. The quality of fuel you put in your engine is going to change the functionality of your engine. Now, you can go a different route if you started getting too crazy into it, because calories in, calories out. It's as simple as that. Thermodynamics are thermodynamics. You're going to burn, if you're eating 2,000 calories a day, you need to be burning more than that to put yourself into a caloric deficit in order to burn and lose weight. Because I know a lot of this is a lot of people that have issues like this, it comes down to a weight thing. Personally, I was always skinny and I hated it. And I hated being the smallest guy in the room. So I started stacking on weight, going to the gym to get big and heavy. And I've succeeded years ago. And I've stayed big. And it's a mental regulatory thing for me at this point. I'm currently like 240, 245. And maintaining that weight makes me feel better, generally speaking, because I'm strong, I'm big, I'm wide. And I know there's nothing here to compare me to, but I'm not necessarily a super small guy. And that makes me feel better about myself. It raises my self-esteem. Like, I've got huge freaking lats. And my traps aren't small either. And it makes me feel good. Like, it just sadly being bullied and feeling like girls weren't that interested in me because I was a smaller, like a thinner guy, drove me crazy for years. Like, it just sucked, and it just affected everything about me. And like, because I'm not over 6 foot tall, I'm freaking close, but I'm not 6 foot tall. Hanging out with friends that are 6'3", 6'4", you feel small. So bulking up is the only way to like kind of help mitigate and counteract being the shorter guy. I mean, I'm not short, I'm 5'10", but like, being less than 6 foot around a bunch of 6 foot tall dudes, you need to be heavy, big. And I became that. And then hanging out with big, monstrous, power lifters and strongmen, you then have to get big and big and big to try not to feel small in that group of friends. So like at one point I was 275, and 275 on 5'10" frame. I was big. I was heavy. I got bad sleep apnea, so my sleep went to hell. I was constantly eating. It's almost like force feeding to stay that heavy because I'm naturally only about 185. So like staying this heavy takes a lot of effort, and it just became a chore. So I started backing down. And with this, a lot of people are trying to lose weight. Now I'm in reverse, but I sadly do know exactly how to lose weight, and it's calories in, calories out. You can find a few really fun tricks if you go looking for it. This is some tips that I've given. I have trained people over my years, and I've always seen results. If you're worried about overeating in one sitting, like in a meal, try eating a fruit about 10 minutes before you sit down to eat. Eat an apple 10 minutes before you sit down to eat pasta or whatever you're having for dinner. Eat a banana, eat a cup of grapes. And I mean like a measurement, a cup of grapes. A couple kiwis, a peach, a pear, whatever the fruit is of your choice. Eat a fruit about 10 to 15 minutes before you sit down to eat. And you're already going to have something in your stomach. It's going to be healthier for you. It's going to have, good fiber, healthy sugars, proteins, whatever, depending on what fruit you're picking. And then your stomach's already going to have something in it. And if you're bigger, eat 2 fruits before you sit down and eat. And then you're not going to overfill on like carbs. Because carbs is what 90% of our bodies run on, unless you force your body into, burning something else as your main fuel source. But if you cut down on some carbs, that's going to cut down on sugar, because all that stuff's just going to glucose turn into sugar in your body. So the more bread, and I run on carbs and protein. That's what I run on. And I'm cool with it because it also helps keep my body weight up. But if you're trying to get your body weight down, back away from your breads, your potatoes, even back away from rice, which just feels weird to say because rice is something me and a lot of heavy dudes ingest daily to keep weight on. But yeah, back away from carbs, stick to healthy fruits. But the biggest thing is calories in, calories out. Old school way, count calories. Stay away from processed foods too. It's full of garbage, man. It's going to kill you. Physical activity. I love this, man. Physical activity is great because if you've ever lifted, there's nothing better than stepping up to a bar or a plate or whatever and lifting something you previously thought you couldn't do. There's no way I can bench, 200 pounds. It's insane. Or there's no way I can bench 115. Are you crazy? My arms will fall off like Mr. Potato Head. And then you step under the weight and you do it. Nothing gets your body going more than that, man. Like your mental, you just start firing. There's nothing better than doing a heavy squat, whatever. Like every time I get someone new in my gym here at the house and I start training them, watching them accomplish something that was previously just impossible in their mind is such an invigorating feeling. And I love it. I'm hooked on it. Like I love it when my kids come out and they do something impressive and something that they previously believed that they just couldn't do. It wasn't in their body, Like when my friends come over that don't lift and start training with me. And I'm like, there's no way I could do that, man. And there's some workouts I can do at stupid level, like really heavy. And they watch me and they're like, there's no way I can do that. I'm like, yeah, you could get there and it wouldn't take long. Like you can be shrugging, 65 pounds in each hand. It's not a problem. I'll get you there. I'll get you there quick. No, man, I can't do that. I can barely shrug these 15s. I'm like, give it time, dude. And not a lot of it. It's just dedication. You'll get there. So, yeah, working out. Go back to this. Because I like these articles. I'm glad I got to read them here. But yeah, these are important lessons that I would love to see more people in my life, like I'd love to see more people making these important goals for them, because too many people don't look inward, they look outward, and too many people are, say, not motivated to grow and find more potential in themselves. But I think people become stagnant and find themselves, without realizing it, locked into an echo chamber. So one or two or three people in a group, whether it be a relationship or friend group or whatever, that let's say one of them has made up their mind. Let's say I've made up my mind about something, and what I've made up my mind on, there is no changing it. And then let's say my wife reinforces that thought in me. Like, yeah, no, Randy, you're right. You're absolutely right. Do it, whatever. You're right. You're just right to say that. You're right to believe that. But let's say someone outside of that disagrees, and disagrees fundamentally. Should I be the one to sit down and think internally and go, well, man, am I right? Just because I think it and I feel it, am I right? And I find that I argue with more people that are unwilling to converse and have a dialogue than anything. And it always comes down to someone not willing to sit down by themselves, alone, with their own thoughts, and think about something and decide to become pliable or stiff as a board. And I used to be that guy that was stiff as a board. There was no changing my mind. There was no talking to me. There was no talking me in or out of something. It didn't matter. My mind was in stone. And now I've become a more pliable person, and I actively seek conversations to challenge me. And I find that most people I surround, that I know just in general, that don't practice mindfulness, that don't practice that, because they, for whatever reason, they just think that they're fine. Like, oh no, I'm good. I'm good as being me. There ain't nothing wrong with me. I'm cool. And I wish more people would sit down and go, am I always right? Or am I should I listen to more people's opinions? Should I take on input? I personally like having people challenge me. And I don't mean that to be combative or argumentative. But like me and my closest friends, we converse. And it seems like we like it because we do it often enough. We'll be talking about something like, oh, well, why do you think that? Oh, that's fascinating. Okay, well, because I was thinking this. And then it's just this back and forth conversation. It's not an argument. It's not like one of us is trying to get one up on the other guy. It's, oh, dude, that's all right. I didn't think of it that way. Here's how I was thinking about it. And they go, oh, okay, yeah, no, all right. Well, and then what about this? And then it just becomes this conversation, and something that when we leave the conversation, it's food for thought for all parties involved. Like the conversation I had today, we were both discussing these, our kids and the future of our kids, and what it is to be a good father, and how we're trying to be good fathers, and where we're trying to one up our dads, and where our dads did things right, and where we think that they kind of, didn't, quite reach the top, the upper levels of success. Not to say our dads are, terrible people or anything, or failures, but you're always looking, in my opinion, if you're a solid parent and you had good parents or a good parent, you should always be looking to outdo your parents. Now that means make the punishments different, like less severe. I had very severe punishments as a kid. My punishments for my kids were less severe. I grew up very poor. Like we were very poor. Single dad, no money. So I became more successful than where my dad was. So I spoiled my kids. to my own detriment a little bit. But I try to give my kids things I didn't have at their age. So my kids had Nikes and they had all the nicest shoes and the coolest toys. Like my kids got that because I didn't, and I wanted to be able to provide something I didn't have. And hopefully my kids provide something even cooler for their kids, the things that they feel they were missing out, when they were kids. And then hopefully they're able to have a better like relationship with their kids than I had with my dad or whatever. Like you're always trying to just kind of keep progress happening and through the parent child dynamic. So we're discussing this and it turned into a tangential conversation, and I view this topic a certain way and he viewed it differently. He's like, "Oh, well, that's interesting. I have a thought. Do you want to hear it?" I'm like, "Absolutely, man." He goes, "Well, I was thinking this, this, and this, and this." I'm not going to go into the detail, but we viewed it differently. And there wasn't an argument. It wasn't, I was like, "Oh yeah, man, you might be right." Like, I don't know for sure. I don't have a yes or no to what I think is right. This is kind of how I view it. And he viewed it a little differently. And it was just a fun conversation. There's no need to argue. There's, "Oh no, dude, that's not right at all. It's this." That's stupid. But you should be challenged by the people around you, whether that be your spouse, your friends, colleagues, whatever. Someone people you're close with should challenge you. Like if you came home and had a bad day and you talk to your, someone about it, they should hear you out. But if you're all amped up and you'd argued with somebody, they should go, "Well, what did you say? Do you think you should have said that?" Like, I think that there should be challenges. There shouldn't just be feeding into each other in a relationship until no one on the outside is ever right. And that's what I find that a lot of people do. If they have enough people feeding into them and reinforcing their beliefs or their thoughts or their whatever, they won't listen to anyone else. And that's the nature of an echo chamber. And it's a dangerous place to be. I think that if you lose sight of thinking rationally and being honest with yourself and being capable of having honest conversation, I don't mean arguments and fights. I just mean honest conversation, but mostly with yourself. Talk to yourself, be kind to yourself, but try to work something out to where if there's something you don't like or so there's something that you want to change it. You will find the strength to do it. It just takes practice, just like anything else. Learning a new hobby or a new skill or a new language, like it's going to take practice. You don't just go out and start, deadlifting 400 pounds. It takes time to get there. And that's what all of this is. And I know it's mostly like an off the cuff thing. I wish I'd have been more prepared and had remembered more of the conversation verbatim because they were really awesome, but it really spurred this on in me. It's important to me. And I think that a lot of people are afraid to be honest with themselves. I think that too many people are afraid to dive in and peel back the layers of the onion, because ogres are like onions, and get in there and find out who you are as a person and maximize your potential. So if you've made it this far, thanks for hanging out. And I hope that I brought something interesting or insightful or informative to this. I hope that if you're on this journey that you stick with it and that you continue down the road to, I say, enlightenment, self-enlightenment. And I don't mean that in all things, just getting to know yourself, honesty with yourself. It's the only way you're ever going to be able to be happy, and I think that more people should be able to be happy by themselves. I think the world is in the state that it's in because too many people can't just sit by themselves and enjoy their own company. and be happy and accept themselves. I find most people can't accept themselves. And it starts at home, man. Like you're the only person that can fix this for you. So, like I said, I hope that this was of some value to your life. It's certainly been a value to mine, and you hanging out here is of value to my life, and I appreciate you. Thanks for hanging out, and I hope you continue coming back. It won't always be this big introspective thing, just this is kind of what was on my mind. And it's storming out, so I can't really do anything else. I got a flood watch alert here on my bottom of my screen. But yeah, like, good luck in your journey. Good luck in your steps towards finding the you that you want to be. And I hope that you do. So I'm Randy. Thanks for hanging out. Tucson, Arizona. Peace.